Hello and welcome to PlayStation Grenade. Have you seen the games releasing throughout March? It's packed to the brim with retro classics, action masterpieces, the spiritual successor to Metal Gear, a few games which will likely go under the radar, and Apex Legends gets its first season of content. Let's go through what March has to offer. I have to start with the game I'm personally hyped for, Devil May Cry 5. You know Devil May Cry, but for those new to the series, DMC follows the demon-murdering skills of professional devil hunter Dante. The series began back in 2001, so it's understandable that many people watching now weren't alive back then. Man, I'm old. As you can see, Devil May Cry 5 is an adventure-style hack-and-slash outing, but although button bashing can get you quite far here, there's a finesse to master to get the most out of those bombastic combos. The speed all the action goes down is awe-inspiring and makes you feel like a complete badass. For veterans to the series, we know about the constantly changing playable secondary characters throughout the last 19 years, from bazooka-wielding femme fatales to the son of your demon twin brother. This time around we meet V, but we'll talk about him later, as I'll be breaking down the story next week if you want to be fully ready for release day. There's a demo available to try right now to see if this franchise is one for you, or if it still hits you in the feels after all these years. If the Resident Evil 2 remake is anything to go by, Capcom are back in a big way in 2019. Devil May Cry 5 releases on March 8th worldwide on PS4, Xbox One and PC. On March 15th, The Division returns to have another attempt at an online action RPG looter-shooter. Set 7 months after the original game, this time in Washington DC. In a mission early on, you'll liberate the White House. I've played the private beta and can sum this game up in a few words. More Division. If you love the original or grew to appreciate the massive improvements made after many people moved on, then you'll be satisfied by The Division 2. An open beta begins on March 1st running until the 4th, so once again, try it before you buy it. The main issue most people took from the last game was the lack of end-game content, so Ubisoft Massive have made this their priority, keeping gamers happy long after the campaign credits roll. A new enemy faction can be found, character specializations are unlocked, such as bringing a sniper rifle so powerful it can one-hit most enemies. But the one which piques my interests are the new raids, which can be played by up to 8 players. The problem is, I don't know 7 people. I'd love to know your thoughts on The Division 2, which releases on March 15th on PS4, Xbox and PC. When you think of From Software, what games spring to mind? Dark Souls or Demon Souls? Maybe Bloodborne? This company's expertise lie in appealing to the hardcore gamers who want a challenge. The average gamer will die over 100 times before finishing anything from Software. The latest title is Sekiro, Shadows Die Twice, set in 16th century Japan, the time of the shinobi. You could be expecting a point system, upgrading specific skills and carefully managing the abilities that suit your playstyle. Things are a little simpler here in Sekiro. Don't get me wrong though, but nothing near the depth from previous games, allowing us mere mortals to access the game without feeling overwhelmed. The main focus of Sekiro is to use parries to break the opponent's posture. When this is done right, they become off balance for a moment, and the opportunity to strike presents itself, making it possible to end fights in a single blow. If you ever played the Tenchu series, you'll be happy to know it's possible to play large portions of Sekiro using instant stealth kills, as long as you remain unspotted. This adds yet another layer of tactics to the game. Look for guard patterns to exploit or rush in like a madman. Fight your own way, it's your choice. Sekiro Shadows Die Twice releases on March 22nd on PS4, PC and the Xbox One. Here's something which will confuse the younger members of the audience. ToeJam Earl back in the groove. Without context, I've got to admit this game looks absolutely terrible, but ToeJam Earl is steeped in retro history. The game is based on the original title from back on the Sega Genesis, or Mega Drive over here, from 1991. In solo or co-op, you'll search the island for pieces of your broken rocket ship, and then find an elevator to the next level. Rinse and repeat. The enemies you face are based on stereotypes, from single mums with crying babies to a miniature devil. They all can kill you, but worse is if they push you to the side of the map and you fall down a few levels, making regression a real worry in later stages. Falling down 5 maps is possible and bloody heartbreaking. The project was kickstarted and ended with over $500,000 raised to see ToeJam Earl return. If you're under 20 years old here, let me know your thoughts. Does this game make any sense to you? ToeJam Earl Back in the Groove releases on March the 1st on PS4, Xbox One, Switch, PC and even the Mac. What's your favourite fighting game? You may be looking forward to Mortal Kombat 11, or you may be OG and like Street Fighter. We all tend to gravitate towards one over another. One which is quietly doing its own thing is Dead or Alive, now on its 6th iteration. Right, let's quickly get something out of the way that DOA is known for. Boob physics. Yep, they are still here and still overly bouncy. But underneath that titillation is a very well put together fighter. The expansive story mode with branching options looks like a great deal of fun, with early playtesters incredibly impressed by the quest mode, which breaks down fights to concentrate on specific skills, quickly rewarded by costume unlocks and other aesthetic items. As you can tell, the character customization is here and extremely robust. But my favourite part is the slow motion damage cinematics, and the way the damage remains on the character throughout the fight. Are you thinking about grabbing Dead or Alive 6? It releases on March the 1st on PS4, Xbox One, PC, and you'll even see it bouncing over on arcade too. Did you hear about a Battle Royale game that appeared with zero fanfare? Okay, so 25 million people downloaded it, so I'm sure you've heard about Apex Legends. Well, this overnight behemoth will release its first season of content in early March. They intend to do this without advertising, so finding information before the release is close to impossible. What we do know is that the Battle Pass will be focused around visual cosmetics, keeping the playing field even to all. We'll see the roster increased, with 11 names found by leakers, but nothing is confirmed just yet. In addition, new weapons will release each and every season, and new loot for everyone. Season 1 runs for 3 months, making June the start of the second season. The pricing structure for the Battle Pass will be a huge indicator as to the longevity of the product. Will we see EA take control and arguably hurt the game with forced microtransactions, or will Respawn, the developers, win out and control their own product? Let's hope it's the latter. We may have found the spiritual successor to Metal Gear Solid, Left Alive. The Front Mission universe has always had a close tie-in with Metal Gear. I remember the exclusive tank decals from Metal Gear Solid Peace Walker suddenly turning up in Front Mission Evolved. But it's not only that, the themes, the stealth action, the mech focus are all here in Left Alive, and with many of the Metal Gear crew working on Left Alive, it really feels like an authentic Metal Gear sub-story. Left Alive is essentially a cover shooter with a heavy focus on survival, but it includes many other genres to break up the core gameplay loop. The stealth options in particular can overshadow the stand and deliver gunplay, and allows us to choose our own approach to each piece of combat. There are sections of mech combat along the way, with the story spanning 3 characters, so the lore and the narrative is constantly added to. But don't worry, it's not as convoluted as Metal Gear. Well, not yet anyway. Left Alive released in Japan last month and hits the rest of the world on March the 5th on PS4 and Xbox. Here's something a little different, Generation Zero. The first thing I want to say about this game is that it's not full price, as you'd expect. It's about 60% of what you'd usually pay. Generation Zero is an open world survival outing, which can be played alone or with friends cooperatively. This is a hostile world, so weapons are very important, but the love of exploration is the core value. In battle, thin walls can be shot through, making hiding a risky decision, keeping us on edge as a real survival title should. Missions are given out regularly to give us direction. During the live stream, the squad was asked to destroy a gas station, which alerted nearby factions, which so happened to be mechs, resulting in a tense gunfight. There are 2 HD re-releases to quickly note before we end. Assassin's Creed 3, which tells the story of how a Native American played a key role in the birth of the USA. It's more of the Assassin's Creed you know and love, but with slightly improved visuals, releasing on March 29th. The Danganronpa trilogy rounds out the month, again releasing on March 29th. As the title suggests, it's 3 Danganronpa titles in one. So if you've been thinking about trying the series out, now is the perfect time. So there we have it, 10 games releasing over March 2019. Are you grabbing anything? I'll likely pick up the Apex Legends Battle Pass for Season 1, and Sekiro looks good, and Devil May Cry 5 is bloody good too. Oh, my wallet is going to hate me. I'm Adam from PlayStation Grenade, it's been an absolute pleasure. I'll see you next time.